Chapter 17, Fog Day. Ben's gaze traveled up a pair of hairy legs and up a hairy torso and came to a rest on a pair of brown eyes. The eyes themselves were not hairy, but they were surrounded by hair. The Sasquatch was wedged tight beneath the table. It looked at Ben. It blinked. Ben's heart nearly stopped beating. He was face to face with a living, breathing Bigfoot, a creature that was supposed to exist only in stories. It looked half ape, half caveman. Its brown fur was thick and matted with sticks and leaves. Its feet were so big they could easily fit into clown shoes. Looking at its low, sloping forehead and unibrow, Ben could see why others might think it wasn't very smart. He stiffened, expecting it to growl or show its teeth, but instead it held out a smooth brown palm and grunted. It wanted something. Then Ben remembered the warning from Dr. Wu's guidebook about not asking a Sasquatch questions. His heart pounding like a kettle drum, he cautiously reached out and handed the Sasquatch his vanilla pudding cup. It snatched the cup and with 2 quick sweeps of its tongue licked it clean. Just like Dr. Wu had written in her guidebook, the creature seemed to love sweet things. I can't find it anywhere. How can a 400-pound Sasquatch disappear? Pearl asked as she knelt next to Ben. What you looking at? Oh, wow! Pushing aside some empty butterscotch pudding cups, Pearl squeezed between the old man's chair and Mabel's chair to get a better look. Then she reached out and touched the Sasquatch's leg. It didn't seem to mind. Ben couldn't believe she'd touched it. What was that? Courage or curiosity? They think it's a dog, Ben told her as the old man tossed another cup under the table. They can't see very well. A dog? Pearl smiled. That's so funny. She laughed. That's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Well, it won't be funny if they find out it's not a dog. How are we going to get it out of here? The Sasquatch burped. Then it sniffed the air. Its brown eyes rested on a chocolate bar in Pearl's hand. Pearl shook the bar. You want? Don't ask it questions, Ben reminded her. Making the Sasquatch angry would just complicate matters. He imagined it stomping through the senior center, old people screaming and fleeing in its wake. Give it a piece. Pearl broke off a corner of the chocolate bar and tossed it. The Sasquatch caught the chocolate chunk. It shoved it into its mouth and grunted again. Then it shifted onto its knees and began to crawl toward Pearl and Ben. Dr. Wu was right, Pearl said as she backed away. We can tempt it with chocolate. She shook the bar again. Here, Sasquatchy, Sasquatchy. The creature crawled out from under the table as it squeezed its enormous body between 2 chairs. Mabel's fell over backward. Her sensible shoes stuck up in the air. Ben scrambled to his feet and tried to upright Mabel, but she was too heavy for him to lift. Pearl moved quickly, waving the chocolate bar as she led the way between tables of seniors who were busy chatting and eating pudding. As the Sasquatch crawled after Pearl, it knocked the seniors over like bowling pins. Chairs toppled. Pudding cups and spoons flew, as did eyeglasses, hair pieces, and a pair of dentures. Whoa, help! Whoopsie daisy! Ben? His grandfather called from across the room. What's going on over there? Is that a dog? Oh, vey! Who let a dog in here? Sorry, Ben told Mabel, though she didn't seem to mind being upside down. He found another pudding cup and was enjoying its creamy goodness. Ben wove around the flailing arms and legs, trying to catch up to Pearl and the Sasquatch. Pearl had almost reached the back door. They were so close to making their escape, but Grandpa Abe had grabbed his cane and was heading straight for Pearl. Ben's heart thumped wildly. He needed to create some sort of distraction. He opened the Sasquatch catching kit and pulled out the fog bomb. How did it work? There were no instructions attached, and even if there had been, there was no time to read them. It made fog, right? That's why it's called a fog bomb. He took a hold of the little cord that hung from the green ball. But was it safe to activate inside a building? Maybe not, or maybe so. Sweat dotted the back of Ben's neck. The Sasquatch stopped to lick something off the floor. Pearl jumped up and down, madly waving the chocolate bar. Grandpa Abe was getting closer and closer. Ben didn't mean to pull the cord. His brain was still arguing with itself about whether it was safe to activate the fog bomb inside a room, especially a room filled with very old people. But he was scared, and sometimes, when riddled with fear, the body doesn't wait for the brain to finish its debate, and so his fingers pulled the cord. "Uh-oh," he whispered, as a plume of fog instantly shot out of the green ball, rising straight to the ceiling. Then it spread wide, filling the senior center with an instant fog bank. Cool mist settled on Ben's face. The scent of the sea drifted up his nostrils. The only thing missing was the sound of a foghorn in the distance. Grandpa Abe and the room itself disappeared. But so did Pearl and the Sasquatch. Everyone started talking at once. "Henrietta, where have you gone? Why can't I see anything? Is this a dream?" "It's not a dream. It's fog. Henrietta, I can't find you. This is pudding day, not fog day. Where am I? Henrietta, I love you. Ben," Pearl called from the door. "It's clear down here." Ben dropped to his knees. He had a perfect view down there because the fog bank floated about 2 feet off the ground. By pushing the kit along the floor, he managed to crawl to the exit. Pearl and the Sasquatch were already outside by the time he got there. "Whew," Ben said as the door closed behind him. "We almost got caught." Ben thought Pearl might say something like, "Wow, that was really smart to use the fog bomb," but she didn't say anything. She stood, her neck craned, staring at the sky. The Sasquatch towered next to her, its face also turned upward. Ben slowly rose to his feet. This time he didn't wonder what sort of bird it was. This time he didn't feel silly for thinking it was a dragon. It circled lazily, then dove behind some trees. "It's going to the factory," Pearl said. This was the first time Ben had seen the Sasquatch standing at its full height. "How are we going to get it back to the factory without people seeing it?" he asked. "We don't have another fog bomb." "I'm not sure," Pearl said. "It's huge." Ben didn't know why, but he didn't feel afraid of the gigantic beast. Maybe it's because it wasn't growling at him, or maybe because it wasn't glaring at him, or maybe because it was scratching one of its feet and whimpering. Then it scratched the other foot. It whimpered, then scratched some more. Mr. Tabby said Dr. Wu was treating it for foot fungus. Ben remembered. It probably needs its medicine. That's when a siren's howl filled the air. The Sasquatch's hands flew to its ears and the howl grew louder. Ben peered around the side of the senior center. Fog leaked out the front door as a Buttonville police force car pulled up to the curb. A woman with dark glasses stepped out. "It's your Aunt Millie," Ben said. "We need to get out of here." Pearl looked up at the Sasquatch. "We're going to take you home," she told it. Don't ask it questions," Ben reminded her. "Right." She broke off another chocolate chunk. "We can avoid the streets and sidewalks by cutting through the forest." She handed the chunk to the Sasquatch. It popped the chunk into its mouth. "Let's go."